Okay, so remember that they're changing my voice. So when we look at Revelation 17, and we see the harlot, the prostitute, and it says that she's the mother of abominations. What is it referring to? Well, we got to go back to Proverbs 11:20. So in Proverbs 11:20, it says that those of crooked heart are an abomination to the Lord, in the English Standard Version. So we see a lot of translations use the word abomination. Some, the New International Version says God detests those who are perverse in heart, and they're shamefully vile, and so on and so forth in the Amplified Version. So when we look at this thing, we see that it's clear that the prostitute, right, which I think that the simple answer is it's Jerusalem and Babylon together, right? It's the Jews and Babylon together. Okay. She's the mother of abominations, where we see that Babylon has really spread out. We see Israel is playing a key role. We see Rome played a key role. We see the UK. It's basically all these things, the essence of all these things, right? When I usually talk about this, I talk about the projection, right? So if a bunch of people who are cheating me on my right to lead get together to mock me, and they get together, there's a spirit in the air, and it's a disgusting, filthy spirit. When they have their marriages, when they have their family time, it's the same spirit. It's the disgusting prostitute spirit. It's right in the beast, right? So it's a formation, it's a combination. So the source of Babylon, right, the source of Jerusalem and Israel when it betrayed God is a prostitute. And it creates other prostitutes. Okay, that source creates, so you can look at it, for example, in Israel, there's like two prostitutes. One is the source prostitute that found its way there, right? The other is the prostitute of modern Israel, for example, okay, which is the product of the initial prostitute, which is the source. That's part of why it gets confusing here. So in a sense, you could just say it's Babylon. You could just say it's Israel. You could say it's all of them because it's the essence of it, right? It's the source of it. And when you zoom in on one of them, you can see that essence, right? You say, okay, Israel in the Bible, Christ is the character in the story, said, Jerusalem, you who murder the prophets and kill those sent to you, what have you. Okay? And he also says to them, finish what you started. So it's going to be a prostitute from the start to the finish, and a revelation in the end. It says that, let those who are evil continue to be evil, but they're not supposed to persecute me. Okay? And of course, they're supposed to listen to me about what to do and not the Bible. Because even if you believe the Bible is holy, who are you to translate it? That's why it says, how can you who are evil say anything good? So Christ is a character in the story said. He said everyone else is evil. They can't, by their actions, interpret the Bible in a way that's sound and apply it. So they're not qualified. All your super churches, all your Catholics, Protestants, Jews, you name it, they're not qualified to translate the Bible. And as they pretend to be, they're like a prostitute riding a beast, which is also the combination of things, right? Dagon and Chemosh and Baal and Asherah and so on and so forth, right? Demons. These are demons. It says in Revelation they wouldn't start worshiping demons. So the beast is like a combination of demons. Okay? And what demons are is like the essence again. If there was a bunch of child rapists, they got together and they saw things the same way, we'll say, they would be projecting some sort of a demon or combination of demons. That's what demons are, right? They're aspects, right? Asmodeus, right? The demon of lust, as they say, as they went into demonology and they made up words and they, use kind of various sources that are invalid, but they basically have more or less the right idea that a demon is a spirit of an evil idea, right? Lust, greed, murder, adultery, theft, what have you. So we also see in Luke 23, right? It says, blessed are the childless women, the breasts that never nursed, the wombs that never bore, right? Blessed are the nations that don't have any kids anymore, that stop doing their works, right? That stop to stop existing. Say, he says, the time will come when you will say this, right? By your actions. Like when he said to Pilate, he said, you have said so. He said, are you the king of the Jews? He said, you have said so, right? By his actions in the exact response to the situation okay, his actions had said that Christ is the King of the Jews. People's actions have said, whether they want to admit it to themselves or not, that blessed are the childless women, the breasts that never nursed, the wombs that never bore. So people should stop existing. They should stop doing what they do and rally and obey God through me. Okay, the time will come after my flesh has died where it's definitive. It said, blessed are the people who are smart enough to stop reproducing. Blessed, are the ideas that no longer express themselves on the planet. And cursed are the ones that do. Okay, so you see how when I explain it this way, there's no other way to look at it. That's what it's saying. It's saying stop reproducing. And that was Luke 23, right before Christ, eventually dies, right before his last words, where he says he gives his spirit to God after he cites Psalms. Well, he cites Psalms in both cases, right? And he says, why has God forsaken him? But he's quoting Psalms. And it's talking about the situation in general, okay? The wicked are, causing them mental anguish and so on and so forth. And the Psalms ends with God triumphing over the wicked, right? So he's not saying that he doesn't believe. He's saying that that's the point in the process of Psalms, right? The root and offspring of David. So you see things like this, right? And so when you see them mocking me, when you see them fuming me, when you see them changing my voice, right? It's not something they can be proud of because, again, it's principle. Okay, if they raped a kid, could they tell you that and say they raped a kid dressed like Santa Claus and brag? No. So if they didn't do something worth bragging about, they're fucking idiots to brag about it. If they did something disgusting and despicable, they're idiots, to have done it in the first place. So when you see them changing my videos, you see them fuming me, you see them acting like some kind of racist with the black faces and activities that are similar to that, right? The mockery, right? The banana they left, trying to mock me. I guess it turned out to be some kind of thing that resembles a noose. So where I usually park sometimes, and I park in many places, right? But there's not that many places to go. I can't just pull up on a neighborhood and park there, for example. So I park in the Safeway parking lot, I park at certain parks, what have you. So one of them, they left something resembling a noose, so that if I started saying, hey, they left a noose, that they would say, hey, he's crazy, right? That's not a noose. He just, and so on and so forth. But you see in the video when I took the picture of it, right, that it looks like a noose. And they did that on purpose. They worked the angles, right? These people know about optical illusions. They know about how things look from different angles. That's something that they deal in, right? Camera angles, what have you. But they left the banana peel to mock. They left the hate crime on the wall. And I went back there recently to my channel in 2017 where I show the thing on the wall and they had edited it, to cover up the hate crime that the Santa Clara County Sheriff Department was playing stupid about. Okay? And they say things all the time. They try to threaten me. You're not supposed to say that. Or, they don't really say you're not supposed to say. They say something that's similar to that. They say like that we're going to have to get even and stuff like this. Okay? So when you threaten God's son for doing God's work, immediately all your loved ones cook in the afterlife, more your punishment increases, because that's a crime against God. When you go as far as to try to stop God from doing his work, through his son, okay, there's hell to pay. And of course, God's going to accomplish what he set out to do. It's all a test. So some people might say, he's just feeling vengeful or something. But they're being tested in their response to it. Are they going to be dumber than a pedophile dressed like a goat raping a whole kindergarten class and persecute God's son? Or they're going to be smart enough to prefer fucking death? And it's going to reflect on their families. Because they're cultivative groups, families, right? Their marriages, right? What do their marriages have in common? What is their belief system? The apple doesn't fall far from the tree, like father, like son. Okay, they say, why did they bring in these fucking idiots who were dumb enough to accept a job of persecuting God's son, who were dumb enough to give the orders, who were dumb enough to pretend to be right with God in a church, mosque, synagogue? Why were they that dumb? Who were dumb enough to shun God's son, to cheat him, steal from him, or whatever the case may be. And of course, they're all complicit with all these things. It's dumb. And then they try to use money, says, hey, blessed are the people who did not bring in kids who were dumb enough to try to use money to try to get me to behave differently. These are racist gays, racist Jews, racist whites, racist token minorities, and some are even black. They don't like black people who actually have heart and actually are men. And they come into that clan-like spirit, that governing class, rich, arrogant, Prince Humperdinck, racist piece of shit spirit, to persecute me with a bunch of racist nerds in the tech sector and pharmaceutical sector, type of worms. You see what I'm saying? And, of course, that must come with punishment. Their own Bible says, and there's 380,000 plus churches, 20,000 plus denominations, their own Bible says God will not be mocked. You reap what you sow. So who among you thinks that they shouldn't be punished to the extreme for their part in this? Who among you thinks that I should regret saying this or I should hold back? That's fucking retarded, right? Can you imagine their fucking geek look on their faces as they're like upset about it? Like, no, he's not supposed to fucking say, I mean, fucking retarded. Are you on the racist geek side or are you on God's side?